Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Councilman Ed Reisinger, the Chair of the Land Use and Transportation Committee. I welcome all my colleagues and audience to the hearing. We are ready to hear the first bill. I just want to remember to all my colleagues that to mute yourself whenever you are not speaking. We are here for City Council Bill 20-0506. This is the Baltimore City Critical Area Management Program, the Critical Area Manual, Map, and Zoning, and it's the purpose of repealing the Baltimore City Critical Area Management Program and documents of the 2002 edition, and approving and adopting a new Baltimore City Critical Area Management Program Manual for 2020. So at this time, were you going to manage? Yeah. So before we go on the committee agency reports, I need to do a roll call. So Matt, can you do the roll call?
Okay. Council members, this is Matt Peters, staff of the committee. I'll go one by one through the names of the committee members. Please indicate when I get to your name. Chairman Reisinger.
Here.
Vice Chair Sneed.
Here.
Councilwoman Clark.
Here.
Councilman Costello.
Present.
Councilman Dorsey.
Hello, everybody.
Councilwoman Middleton.
Present.
Councilman Pinkett.
Present.
And Councilman Stokes. Councilman Stokes is not with us yet.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Okay. We'll start with the agency reports. Planning Department.
Hello.
Bruno, yes. Introduce. Bruno?
Yes.
Bruno?
Yes. Should I start? Should I start?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, City Council members. Thank you for having me here. My name is Bruna Attila. I'm the Coastal Planner for the Office of Sustainability in the Department of Planning. And I'm here today to provide a very brief overview of the Critical Area Management Program of Baltimore City and the updates we are proposing to the program with the City Council bill. The Critical Area Management Program, and for short, we call it CAMP, the program has such long name, was created by the state of Maryland in 1984, and Baltimore and other coastal jurisdictions are required by the state to implement and enforce the program. The purpose of the CAMP is to regulate development that happens within 1,000 feet of Chesapeake Bay waters and tidal segments of tributary rivers. The program is important because it prevents coastal erosion, it protects wildlife habitats, and it contributes to the improvement of water quality in the Chesapeake Bay. The three main regulatory aspects of the program are stormwater management, the 15% afforestation requirement, and mitigation for vegetation removal. And the three requirements can be met in four different ways. The first is on-site mitigation. That's when the requirements are met entirely on-site. The second is off-site mitigation. That happens when the requirements are met on an off-site location. And in certain cases, the mitigation requirement can be met through the payment of an offset fee. And finally, the mitigation can be met through a combination of on-site and off-site mitigation and or offset fees. So the CAMP manual that we currently use to guide the implementation of the program in the city was last updated back in 2002. And the paper map that goes along with the manual and defines the boundaries of the critical area was provided to us by the state back in 1989. So because the effective map is paper-based and is over 30 years old, the state remapped its critical area and delivered a new and improved digital map to all coastal jurisdictions, including Baltimore City, in 2018. The critical area boundaries in the new digital map remain generally the same, and we want to mention that all impacted property owners have been notified twice of the map changes, once in 2018 before the maps were finalized by the state, and again in April of this year. We also had 2 public forums to explain the proposed map and manual changes. The first was during the Planning Commission hearing on March 26th, when the Commission voted and approved the manual and map update. The second was a public information session during the Sustainability Commission meeting in April 1st of this year. The camp manual and map were also available for public comment from March 9th until May 8th of 2020. And we received comments and addressed them, and a copy of the updated draft manual with the public comments marked with track changes is available on the Department of Planning's website. It's also important to mention that Baltimore City is required by the state to formally adopt the new digital camp map by June 30th of 2020 of this year. So changing gears a little bit now and going into the proposed program updates, one of the most significant changes is the creation of a new sub-district called the Shoreline Conservation Area. The new area only includes land within the first 30 feet from the water that are currently soft or green, like the Middle Branch area. So in other words, it only includes areas of the coastline that do not have bulkheads as of the date of adoption of the Camp 2020 map and manual. So the intention of the Shoreline Conservation Area is to keep new bulkheads from being constructed, and that requirement is consistent with what MDE requires from coastal projects. And just for reference, MDE stands for the Maryland Department of the Environment. We are also proposing to adjust the 2 offset fees the program has. The stormwater management offset fee will go from $35,000 to $45,000 per pound of phosphorus, and the tree mitigation fee will go from $400 to $600 per tree. And I would like to mention that the last time both fees were adjusted was back in 2002, so it's been 18 years and it's since the last fee adjustment. And the adjustments are near or below the rate of inflation. And every year we use the offset fees collected to fund grants that are provided to nonprofit organizations to fund afforestation, stormwater management, and environmental education projects throughout Baltimore City. So as you see, the benefits of the program go beyond the critical area boundaries. And a few organizations that have received camp grants are Baltimore Tree Trust, Plantation Park Heights, the 6th Branch, Baltimore Green Space, Blue Water Baltimore, the Southeast CDC, and the list goes on. And this is all that I have for you today, and I'm ready to take any questions.
Thank you very much. Great presentation. Before I go to my colleagues, I just want to state, Bruno, that I sit on the Planning Commission, and to my colleagues and listening audience, there wasn't any position, but am I correct, and does my memory serve me well, that there was an amendment regards to minor and major Planning Commission?
So there were a few things that happened with public comment, and we incorporated all those changes within the manual. One of them is that the active date of the camp manual and map will be the final adoption of the camp and map and manual, which is the date of the Critical Area Commission adoption, which is the final approval date. And Lori, you can elaborate if you like me to.
Yeah, Councilman, this is Lori Feinberg. Yes, Councilman, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
This is Lori Feinberg in planning. And just to make it clear, we did receive a number of comments after the Planning Commission, and Bruno was able to answer all of those or adjust for all of those. They're all posted on the website, and all the individuals that have commented have received an email. And working with legislative reference, Nancy Ray said because the manual is adopted by reference in the bill, the updated manual based on comments will have today's date, 5/20/2020, and that is the best way to reflect that. So I believe she prepared two amendments for you. One to add the date of the manual into the legislation, so it's very clear to everyone that it's the manual of 5/20. And the second amendment is a minor word deletion to clarify based on comments towards the end of the text. So that's to explain the two amendments.
Okay, what about the planning commission to where the plan, a chair goes to staff and the manager goes to planning commission?
I
There was no
don't
amendment?
recall that for critical areas. No, that was not really a part of it.
Okay, all right.
The program is administered by staff.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any of my colleagues have a question? Planning?
Mr. Chair,
Yes. Councilman Dorsey?
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm sorry, am I the only one that's hearing like a significant echo?
There's a lot of feedback. Yeah, I hear that too.
Sorry, everyone. This is Matt Peters. I'm going to mute everybody and then unmute Councilman Dorsey. Okay, hopefully that will take care of it.
Great, thank you, Matt. I'm just trying to understand the relationship of on-site mitigation, off-site mitigation, and fees in lieu. Is there any possibility of work being done in a critical area management zone where detrimental, irreparable harm could come from that, and a fee in lieu or off-site mitigation would be allowed instead of something bad happening on site that is not being addressed on site?
So we have the guidelines for development, and we require the 15% afforestation requirement, and we always prefer, that's always the first choice, to have all mitigation implemented on site. But and then it goes case by case, because sometimes there's not enough room to plant the required amount of trees, or there's not enough room within the site to perform the stormwater management requirements. So that's when we would allow, or whatever other physical restrictions to have those components on site. That's when we would allow for either off-site mitigation or the payment of a fee in lieu. Does this answer your question?
I think so. I mean, it makes me uneasy that there, I mean, yeah, I think it answers my question. My other question is about the fee for trees, the fee in lieu or offsite mitigation fee associated with trees, increasing from 400 to 600. How is that quantified? Is that quantified on a caliper inch basis of the tree that's being removed, or what is that?
So the way we calculate how much mitigation for vegetation removal is, so if it's within the buffer, which is the first 100 feet from the water, for every 1 inch of tree removed, the developer or the project owner would need to replace with 3 caliper inches. So it's 3 times as much mitigation required. That's the reason why sometimes there's not enough room within the property, could be, for us to accept a fee in lieu. But so, and whenever a tree is removed from outside of the buffer within the remaining 900 feet of critical area, it's a 1-to-1 mitigation ratio. For example, so if a 10-inch tree is removed, the project owner would need to replace that tree with 5 2-inch trees, and each 2-inch tree would be valued at $600. Does that answer your question?
Okay, so that $600 fee correlates to one 2-inch tree.
Yes.
Okay, that I think that makes sense. And is that, I understand that I had an issue a couple of years ago where I was dealing with the environmental police over an issue at Loch Raven, where a person who lives adjacent to the Loch Raven Reservoir cut down a huge number of trees on the city's property. And they told me that they use a formula to calculate the true cost of replacement when issuing a citation for things like that. Is this $600 calculation, is that in keeping with that calculation that the city forestry uses?
So the calculation for critical area includes the cost of the 2-inch tree, management costs on the city side to address like where that tree is going to be planted and all of that, or disbursing grant funds for different organizations to plant that tree, and also the cost of maintaining that tree for 2 years. So it's all in there. Yeah, sure.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman. Any of my other colleagues have any questions for planning? No other questions? Okay, thank you, Bruno. Let me go to BMZA.
This is Derek Baumgartner with BMZA. The BMZA has no objection and we defer to planning.
Okay, thank you. Any questions to BMZA? No? Let's go to the Law Department.
Good afternoon. It's Vic Turvola from the Law Department. To take a step back, all these amendments have to be in conformity with state law, and the Critical Areas Commission has to approve on everything that's done. And from everything I've read in the report and everything I'm hearing today, that has been done. So the Law Department is prepared to approve this bill legal sufficiency.
Okay, what about, earlier, if I was correct, did the Law Department come up with any amendments? Because we haven't received any, or you're just confirming that you accept?
We have no amendments, Mr. Chair.
No amendments? Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Councilman Reisinger, this is Laurie again. The amendments, Nancy Ray prepared the amendments, and I apologize they didn't get to the committee. We're trying to track them down and email them to Matthew as we speak.
Okay, so Victor has no amendments, but there is.
I have not seen the planning department's amendments. They sound, from what Laurie mentioned, they sound to be not problematic. So assume once we see them, or if they're available to us, we'll probably pass off on that as well. It doesn't look like we have a problem with passing the bill as drafted or as will be amended.
Okay. I just want to make sure we do this right. So Victor, we can move the bill as is. And if there's any amendments, they come out on second reader.
That would be my recommendation, right?
Okay, all right. Any of my colleagues have any questions? The Law Department? No? Okay, at this time, we will go to public testimony. Matt?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, anyone who's joining us from the public by computer should use the raise hand function to indicate that they would like to testify. I am not seeing any right now. We also have a few users joined by dialing in, so I'm going to now unmute each one individually. And if you would like to testify, please state your name and start testifying after you hear 2 beeps. If you do not wish to testify, please just say so. And the first caller. Sounds like no response. Okay, second caller, you've just been unmuted. Okay, no response. Third caller. No response. Fourth caller. No response. And appears to be the last caller. No. Okay. No response. And we still do not have anyone using the raise hand function to let us know that they want to testify. So that appears to be it for public testimony.
Thank you, Matt. Before I ask for a motion, does any of my colleagues have any questions or comments before we make a motion? No? Do I have a motion to move Bill 20-0506?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Clark, second by Dorsey.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. We're going to do roll call. Vice Singer is yes. Okay, Matt. Shannon, Councilwoman Sneed.
Yes.
Sneed is yes. Clark.
Yes.
Clark is yes. Costello.
Yes.
Costello is yes. Dorsey.
Yes.
Dorsey's yes. Middleton.
Yes.
Middleton is yes. Pinkett.
Yes.
Pinkett is yes. Stokes.
Mr. Chair, this is Eric Costello. Councilman Stokes just called me and told me that he is on the line, so I think he may need Matt to unmute him.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Stokes? Matt, you got him? Okay, give us a couple seconds. Right. Councilman Stokes?
Yes.
You vote yes?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Stokes. Robert Stokes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We have eight yes votes. The bill passes. And I just want to state that the committee will report the bill at the next council meeting because as of today, right now, there may be a special meeting, so I don't know yet. So at the next council meeting, we will bring this out at second reader. This concludes City Council Bill 20-0506. Thank you.